Hi everyone, welcome to another paint-along. Today we're going to be using some paper and doing a quick little paint demo with this pear, this juicy looking pear. This was super fun and really quick. We did a little bit of splatter to get some speckles on the pear. I used the paint pretty thick to give it some texture and had some fun creating a bunch of different shades there. So we'll get started. Hi guys, welcome to another paint along. Today we're going to do a quick little paper painting or canvas, whatever you want. I'm using paper taped to my board. Got a little pear sketch and I'm just going to transfer it. So I've got my sketch taped down with some chalk on the back of it, and I'm just going to do a quick transfer here. Not worried about it being 100%, just getting the lines in here. It's just a guideline. Okay, so I'll just put that to the side. All right, I'm really liking the way blue chalk works right now. I was using purple before, but the blue for some reason seems to be transferring really well. So just a little tip there. Okay, so got a selection of brushes here. I always like to say use what you have. So if you have anything similar to, really don't need this one at all for this kind of stuff. So we'll stick to these two. A small round baby bear brush and a medium-sized angled brush, but not necessary, just whatever you've got. Okay, tape down my paper, and I'm going to start by outlining my sketch here with some purple. So I'm just going to take some blue, a couple scoops of red, swirl it up. I like to put a little bit of water in at the early stage, so I just dip my brush in the water and then squish it around, mix it up in the paint there. Twirl the brush around a little bit to mix in that water. Okay. And then I'm just going to outline my pear here. Not worrying about it being perfect, just giving me a guideline. Parts of it might get cut off with the tape, and that's fine. Don't worry. There's a couple shadow lines here, so I'll actually fill the shadows in. And there's a couple little marks down here. Okay, so there's a shadow. I have to think about the light source in order to figure out where the highlights and shadows are. So my shadows are on the right-hand side, which means my light is going to be on the left, and it's somewhat above. So shadows will fall to the bottom right here. And so I got a nice dark shadow here. The pear is going to give a shadow to the table, whatever it's sitting on. I'm just going to say there's a tablecloth down here, so it's got these folds in it. And we can put a little shadow back there. Now there's also going to be a little bit of shadow, not as much, so I'll take a little bit more water, dip my brush, and just put that in the paint just to kind of lighten it up a little bit. So there'll be a shadow at the bottom of the pear. And then there's a little bit of a shadow over here as well. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh, and the stem. Just gonna fill that in because it's dark. Okay, rinse out brush. And our pear is gonna be like a yellow-green, and the background is gonna be kind of a, let's say a burlap kind of brown. It's going to be a bit of a burlap table there, tablecloth and table. So let's do the background first. So I will do, brown is essentially all the colors. So if I take some yellow, it's a good scoop of yellow, maybe half of that of red and half of that of blue. See what that gives you. Pretty green, so I know I need to add some more red to that. That's nice. Okay, that's a good brown. Now that can work well for the dark part. I also want a light version of that, so I'll just take a little bit of that and put it over here. And I'll need a little bit more white, but I'll just scoop what I have into here. Now I can see there it's a little bit on the green side, so I'm just going to add a bit more red. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll rinse out my brush right now. I might add a little bit more red to this one. Let's try it out and see. Sometimes you have to paint it on your surface. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, I'll leave that. So I'm going to paint the darkest parts in here first. So basically where I've got my purple, I will fill in with this darker brown. And that'll help define the pear, because the pear is going to be a fairly light yellow. And that's just kind of like a crease in the tablecloth there. Okay, so I'll rinse out my brush. Now I'll take my light color here, and I'm just going to go right in there. It's okay if some of that blends. That's kind of nice, actually. And I'm just going to work it in. All right. Now what's going to happen is we're going to have a harsh line here. So what you can do is just blend the two together on the surface. So you can also take some of your dark and some of your light and mix a mid-tone color and put that in. I usually like to work right on the surface I'm painting on to blend things. And I want it to be super loose and not spend very much time on this part. So I won't spend too much time on this background because I want my pear to be the focal point there. Okay. That's good. Maybe the burlap is kind of coming up there at the edge. And you can add a little bit. Let's get some more white here on my palette. Clean my brush. Okay, I'll just go straight into the white and just add a touch of highlight. It'll blend with the paint as it's wet, so that's kind of nice. Now the background here, if we do it all the same color, let's just see here. I don't want it to be too muddy, so I'm going to mix a new color for that. So I will take a good scoop of white and a little bit of this light brown because it's a nice shade, but I want it to be different, so I'm going to add some yellow. And that might just be enough to differentiate, to make those different. Yeah, okay, that's looking good. Paint around my stem. And some of my chalk is still on the paper and it's blending into it, but I like that. I like that look. Okay. I like how it's really loose right now. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of white, just straight white, and throw that into the background. And just like wherever you want, you can kind of do shapes around the pear if you like. I like to just do a few interesting brush strokes. Okay, that's good for the background. Now we'll work on the pear. So clean my brush. Now the pear is a beautiful yellow with a hint of green. So I'm going to let's take a generous 2 scoops of yellow and then just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue. Okay, it's very strong, so I don't want to go too heavy. I'll even dab a little bit out just to see what's going to happen here. Yeah, see how strong it is? Wow, that's strong. Okay. So that's a little bit more than I had expected, which is okay. We'll use that for something else, but what we can do is just take a little bit of that. So what's in my brush, I'll scoop over here. Okay, so perfect example of how to adjust a color. Okay, so I want it to be more yellow. Instead of adding a ton of yellow to this, just take a little bit of this out, right? And add a ton of yellow to that. And then we're not making a whole big amount of paint. And we're getting to the color that we need to faster. Okay, we do want to add some white as well to this because I want to make it opaque, and our white is our only opaque color, solid color. Okay, that's the color I'm going for. Okay, so that's good. So not to worry, this happens all the time where I try to go for a color and I don't quite get it. But you know, I'm going to save that and I'll be able to use that in the painting, so that's okay. Now let's get out this medium brush because we haven't used it yet. You can do the whole thing in a small brush if you prefer, but I just want to use my angled brush because I've started really liking this brush a lot. So we'll go in with the main color here, this yellow. Nice and vibrant. Now I did add white, so it's going to cover. So I don't want to cover everything here. If I do that, I'll cover up my purples. Let's see. Oh, it's not too bad. So if you cover a little bit of the purple, that's okay. Acrylics take a lot of layers to cover, which is good, good and bad. I'll just do the whole thing here because it's easier. I'll leave a bit of that purple showing. And you can leave some of the purple edge. It's kind of neat, like an outline. I kind of like that up at the top there. So I think I'll leave that. I might just drop a little bit of this color into the stem. Just using the tip of the brush, you can get a nice line just to give it a bit of highlight. Okay. Now we're going to have to build this up with a few layers because it is yellow is so transparent. I'm just cleaning my brush. And I'm gonna just give another layer to this shadow. Now, shadows are really nice in purples and blues, but they are also warm colors, so I might warm it up a touch. So let me take some red and some of this purple. It's kind of watered down there. See what that gives me. So it's like a warm purple here. Okay. And I'm just going to paint that in my shadow here. Yeah, it just warms it up a little bit. I'll put that down at the bottom here as well. And there's another shadow in here. Sometimes pears have like a red orangey hue to them, so that's kind of working nicely. There's a little bit up there. Okay, now we're going to go over top of it. So don't worry, I know it's looking a little crazy right now. It's okay. We're going to tone it all down again. Okay, so I think we're just going to have to keep building some layers of this yellow. So let me add some white. We'll take our main color. Actually, you know what? Let's use this green color while we have it. This can be sort of our intermittent color here. Okay, now we'll add some white to that because it's really transparent and not showing up too much there. Another way to also get the paint to cover better is instead of painting sort of like this, take your brush like this and paint very gently and very parallel to your surface. There we go. And that just allows the paint to drag off of it instead of scraping it, you know, kind of drag it around. There we go. Helps to cover. And there's a little bit of a highlight right across this ridge here. Okay. And I know my paint's thinning, but that's actually working well right now to soften that edge. There's a little bit of reflective light on the side here coming down. That's kind of where it's dark, but it's capturing the edge of it. There's like a little bit of a highlight. Also on this side here. That's what I like the angled brush for. It gives you some really nice fine lines. Okay. All right, there, that's coming together. And it's just a matter of kind of dipping your brush in this light yellow color here and keep building it up until it starts to resemble something interesting here. I want to soften this purple because it's still a little bit heavy, so I'll clean my brush here. And perhaps sometimes the best way to do it is to just take the color you're working with and the shadow and mix them together. That's nice. Very nice. Okay, so I will do that here, holding it. I'm going to continue to hold it this way because it seems to be working well. Kind of an orangey color, but I like that. It's becoming very impressionistic, which I also like. I just sort of do quick motions in the shape of what it is. So at the top, it's a bit more up and down. At the bottom, it's a bit more curved. So it's nice to throw these curves in here. And again, not to overwork it too much, then it sort of loses that looseness. Okay. There's a little bit of dark purple left in there. If I just take my brush and mix it with the purple, Gives me a little bit of a lighter, slightly lighter shade. Nice color there. That could be great for those dots down below. Oops. And the stem. Great stem color. Okay. Now another trick you can do is a little bit of a spray here with the brush. So maybe a bit of water. So I'm just going to dunk my brush in the water. And sometimes I test it out like on the paper towel to see if it's working. Ah, it's working. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a little spritz here with the brush to give it that dotted kind of pear look. Sweet. Now some of it got into the background. I don't mind that. But if you don't like it, you know, just go in with some of that paint and cover it up. Let me just see what I've got here. I want to add a couple more defined dark spots there. But I think it's pretty good. Oh, and a few more highlights. That's what it needs. Okay. So I'm going to continue using my angled brush because I know I can get a nice fine point there. I will just go straight in with the white, I believe. That's what I'm going to do. And just give it the final highlights here at the top. A little bit down here. Again, if you need to think about your brush, hold it like you're picking it up off of a table. There's a highlight in here. That's pretty good. Now, I can do one more thing here. I'll just take some white, mix it into that light color there. Get myself a nice light shade and just pop that in a little bit around here. Just felt it needed a little bit more there. It's so easy to overdo, and I always say it because I always feel like I'm getting to that point where I'm like, oh, stop. Okay, I will stop there. If you want to spritz it again, because we did cover some of them, we can do that. Give it a little spritz. Creates some really interesting marks this way. You don't have much control over it, but that's kind of fun. All right. Now, if you want to cover some of them up on the background, you can do that. I don't like to fuss too much, but if that, you know, bothers you, you can do that. I think I'll see here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Oh, I just thought of one more thing. I'm classic for that. Done, not done. Okay, I just want to add a little bit of orange. I just saw that. So I just got yellow, red. I need a little bit of white. It's kind of a bright orange here. Peachy kind of color. Make enough so that I can spread it around. Okay, this is going to make it pop. Just a little bit on this edge here. Da, da, da. And a touch on the top there. I like that. Okay. Now it's done. Okay. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I hope you enjoyed that little demo. Nice and quick and easy. I'll show you what I do with the tape. You can leave it to dry as it is, or you can peel the tape off if you're impatient like me and you want to see what it looks like. It's fine to peel the tape off. Just be slow with it because it can tear every once in a while and peel away from the artwork. Got a nice crisp border. That's pretty sharp looking. All right. that's our pear. I'm really pleased with that one. Super fun, super quick, just a little paint on paper. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next tutorial.